Hello, this is Gabriel Alvarez. This is paper two for SER494. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen really quick. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can go ahead and share what I kind of wrote based on the prompt. What kind of surprised me the most is like how the back end of like a game gets made. You just gotta. I didn't think of like all the items and all of like the pieces that work together. And it's kind of to me like a clock, like how there's a bunch of moving pieces on a clock and they all work together to do one thing, which is kind of like what video games do. I took the example of my favorite game, which is Call of Duty World at War. It has like four modes: campaign, campaign, multiplayer, co-op, and zombies. And so like each mode has like a different type of like game structure. It needs its like own environment. It needs, player like abilities, all that. So it's very interesting, and that really surprised me the most, especially creating these labs. Like on the labs, it shows there's like few requirements, but these requirements there's a lot that goes into it. So yeah. Next, the game design. It's I'm kind of surprised with how easy it is to design a game. Especially like for the group project, how like in the beginning we only met for like an hour or not even, and it kind of just like we just had a bunch of ideas that kind of just build off of those ideas. Just you just ask yourself like a few questions and it can just be as creative as you want. I mean, the sky's the limit. So yeah. Lastly, what it's most notable to me now in like video game culture is like the whole pay to play type of thing. How like 10 years ago, where it was like it's not how it is today with like how corporations like EA, like Activision, they like try to like sell a bunch of like skins and a bunch of like personal stuff. And to me, it's kind of like I don't know, it's kind of like a delusion to me, where like oh like if you buy this, like you'll be better, or like for example, like battle passes. I remember that came around and like it's kind of just like yo like here's $10. Like if you pay us $10, it's you'll get so much farther than if you don't pay those $10. Um, yeah, it's kind of like a pay to win, kind of against it, but it's very notable to me. So yeah, I can pass it off to the next person, Prashant, if you want to go ahead and go next.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for giving an opportunity. So, mainly I'm going to discuss about some of the gaming engineering as a system and design difficulties and flow in the game system where games as culture and architect module. So basically, when I go through this game engineering, design, and the culture, some of the forms of economic where technologies physics and art where the AI system is help for the development of this just on a coding purpose, thinking in the system where it can give a feedback, player predictions, a real shift game development. So when I go firstly for the gaming engineering as a system, where it less about resolving algorithms and more about architecturing the interior system like physically animation inputs and AI for the system platform for the further development for the present environment architect in the engineering systems where Unity plays a major role in the gaining of classes where it can improve the flexibility as a project growth. And when I deeply debug, I have went through the some of the designing difficulties and flows where modern gaming designs participates in center has it iteration designs building small slices of gameplay platform for the testing gathering feedbacks refine before explaining the scope platform testing for the observation for the confusions for points where the real players going to face then we used to small things where it really matters for the feedback in culture for maintaining flows avoiding frictions for among the simple mechanisms so where I have felt these are the a few design difficulties and flows when I go for the game as a cultural architect for the video gaming now widely studies that major contemporary art for cultural explanation, global that can be revoked those of the film as a music, where we can design some of the structures where the Unity programs which helps us naturally has the environment and particular game system. So this is what I have reported in this system. Yeah, thank you.
Alrighty. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, Ali, if you wanna go next.
Yeah, of course. Hey, team. I'm Ali. And the part that surprised me most in game engineering was how connected all the systems are. When I worked on the phase manager, I thought switching phases would be like simple, but even showing or hiding the weapon affected UI, animations, input, and other scripts. And for the game design, the biggest surprise was how much small details change the whole experience. When I added firing sounds, reload timing, and small animations to the gun, the gameplay suddenly felt much more fun and responsive, like even though the main mechanic didn't change. And from the game, like a game culture standpoint, the most notable thing to me is how high player expectations are. People judge like the game instantly based on how it feels. So even small delays or awkward animations can make player think the entire game is low quality. Working on this project helped me understand um, why the gaming community can be so critical. Yeah, that's all for me.
Yeah, alrighty, thank you for that. Mohammed, if you wanna go next.
Yeah, so for me, as a programming aspect, it was frustrating to know about the collision detection because once I started building the game, I was frustrated, why am I going through the walls? And resolve when I saw the tutorials, it was very simple. Like you just need to add the component to the to your thing that are you using. So yeah, that took me a long to trigger it out. Yes, as well as when you pass through some instances like walking sounds, like with the collision, you need to trigger the volume as well. As per other aspect of what influenced me more is triggering. Like when you want to pick up some items, you need to trigger the and have a rigid body uh, to let the player know you can collect it and use it. So for looking at the game culture, I think the gaming industry is increasing as we see the esports. There are multiple esports company going on. So yeah, I think it's a multi-million dollar company right now, as well as we are getting the good place. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Mohammed. Yeah. Prince, if you wanna go next.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Prince, and for my points, the first thing is I was surprised about how accessible it is to create a game. I always assumed that you needed like crazy high spec computer, but with Unity, at least the process I would say is like the ecosystem and the environment is kind of straightforward enough for a novice to be able to like know their way around, what's going on, obviously after a lot of tutorials and experience. And I just thought it wasn't the skill gap was too big to fill, but this class taught me that it's actually a lot more accessible than you would think. And in terms of implementing design, I think thinking of a design and having an idea of a design, especially in gaming, you think that it's gonna be it's easy to make the design, but for the implementation, there's so many layers to it, especially depending on what you want to implement for the design, and it has so many moving parts. It's very layered and it takes up a lot of it goes through a lot of iterations. Um, And one of the most notable thing I noticed was how a lot of standardized subtleties there are in gaming experiences. For example, things as simple as just like sound effects or colors or good things versus bad things that are represented. It's very standardized psychologically, and it's just things we are kind of taught to just know. And but these are all things that you have in gaming you have to consider so that the users or players know exactly like what's expected from them. And it made me look at games with a lot more respect because of the attention to detail that you wouldn't even think about thinking of. Another thing I realized is being have ensuring that the game isn't exploitable. A lot of companies, I would assume, would have to create entire teams and departments to ensure that a game isn't easy to exploit. Otherwise, you lose revenue and you lose um, money, and a lot of crucial aspects is um, when having a game that's easily exploitable. I know for like games like Zelda games, Mario games. I exploited the hell out of them so I don't have to pay like for gems and coins and stuff. And I know that's definitely a loss to the company. So, um, yeah, those are all points that I wrote for this essay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Prince. Appreciate it. Yeah. Sai, if you want to finish us off.
Yep, sure. So for the game engineering, what surprised me the most was like how independent, like the development, like how dependent the development is, like of the game's internal structure, right? So originally, like I thought, like you have to code like the collisions and stuff like that manually, but really, like you just like drag and drop from Unity, right? So it's not really about like who can code better. It's also like how the system, like how you code well with the system, like how you integrate the code with Unity, right? So that matters a lot. And also for game design, the biggest surprise was like how difficult it is to create like a game that is more like that is also fun and equally balanced, right? So like, and also you have to go through a lot of iterations to like build HUDs and stuff like that, like the UI and stuff like that. And for the play in the play for the player's perspective, right? You also have to like give them a challenge, which is like a very challenging experience, but also not too challenging, just in the middle of fun and challenging, right? And for the culture, what I would say, I'm just surprised like how different it is, like how the game is perceived versus like how the game is like what the game like gives you, right? For example, I can say like a game like Schedule One. So that crossed like Assassin's Creed, like the new Assassin's Creed release, right? So it just blew off like Assassin's Creed on Steam. That was very surprising even for the industry too. So, but if you look at both the games, like Schedule One is, you can say it's a low effort game, but it still provided some kind of value that people enjoyed that Assassin's Creed couldn't. So that is like a small, like that is like what the game offers and how it's perceived. That is like a difference in that. So that's all I have to say.
Yeah, alrighty. Well, that concludes our talk. Thank you.